I lived with my mom and various foster homes till I was 4. When I was 4, I got adopted to a not so nice family.
As a young child, I was pretty smart, and then when I was younger, it was really difficult for smart kids to move in forward if you didn't conform, and a lot of times I was in trouble with teachers and parents.
I remember falling asleep in school in grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3 all the time because I never got any sleep. I remember not having friends.
Nobody sets out to be an addict or a statistic. Everybody has a story. Everybody is somebody's child. We all come from somewhere.
I remember my mom always being home when my dad was having sex with me. I remember drunk Christmases.
Standing in a corner for 10 hours, shoving soap down our mouth for no reason, or starving us.
You know, I don't even remember having my name being called Phil. It was always, you know, asshole or idiot or, you know, or piece of garbage or piece of shit.
I remember going to feed the ducks in the middle of the night with a drunk father who did things to me in the backseat of the car before we got to feed the ducks.
Like, my mom drank while she had all of us, so we're all really small. I get teased a lot because of my size. But it's like my mom drank while she had all the kids, and so we're all really skinny or whatever.
My father beat me with belt buckles till I pissed and shit in my pants. I mean, he didn't just sexually abuse me, he beat me. While my mom just sat there and watched.
I remember the way I had to wake up in fear of my father, and you know, being allowed by my mother to allow him to abuse me, you know, physically, sexually, and the mental abuse. You know, I was never good enough. I was always an idiot. I was always, you know, someone else's trouble.
It was pretty bad from the beginning. Like, I mean, my mom and dad, well, I'm presuming my dad too, were all obsessed with child pornography. Like, when my sister inherited my mom's computer and there was child porn all over the entire thing. She had really strong mental health issues, and she actually killed herself 3 years ago. She killed herself, overdosed on the couch.
Early childhood trauma causes severe mental health problems that can continue throughout the lifespan. But it's not a leap. It's a long, painful journey. Just as everybody comes from somewhere, everybody goes somewhere. But where they choose to go is sometimes not a choice at all.
At 13, I got fed up and I actually ran away in the middle of the night.
But by the time I was 8, boy oh boy could I run. I found a porch that had a lot of toys on it, and I walked up onto the porch, and the lady invited me into the home, offered me some food, and then from there it turned into something quite horrific. And they injected me with some heavy drugs. You know, 8-year-old on a heroin, if you're not careful out there, you find the monsters find you. And when you're running from a monster, it's easy to run to a monster.
Monsters come in many forms. Childhood trauma opens the gates to depression and lifelong addiction. Sometimes the monsters are the abusers. Sometimes we create them within ourselves.
I'd cut myself, poke needles in myself, grab a little blade or whatever and just do a little cut, and that's it. Instead of being in emotional pain, I'd rather be physical pain, because I think physical pain is a lot easier to deal with. I just couldn't take it, and I was just like, I was to the point where I needed drugs. I needed something.
The drugs was an escape. That was what it was. It was all about an escape. And I ran into some seedy people who introduced me to pot. And then, of course, pot escalated to a little bit of pot, a little bit of cocaine. And then from a little bit of pot, a little bit of cocaine, to a little bit of heroin. And then once that heroin got in me, that was it.
No, it wasn't. That was just the beginning. Researchers have found many addicts are untreated trauma survivors, using drugs to try to stop the pain. The cycle of addiction and abuse leads one way, and once again, you become the monster's prey.
It comes down to this: you'll do anything. And my motto, and I was famous, and everyone knows me for this, is there's nothing I won't do for money, for drugs.
I've been raped so many times. I have woke up behind a dumpster, beaten, with no clothes on, in the rain, and I'm pretty sure I was supposed to be in the dumpster. Like, I write a lot. I wrote a little thing on that, and it was like, I titled it "Next Time Kill Me," because that's what I said as I walked away. I'm like, next time just kill me.
And I got beat up a few times. I can remember being at this motel on the south side, and this farmer just pounded the shit out of me, and he was trying to rape me without a condom. And I flew out of the room with no clothes on, and it was 30 below, and this yellow cab driver saw me, and he flew out of his cab and put his leather coat around me and walked me back into the room and got my money, got my clothes, dressed me, told the guy he was going to call the cops, but I said, no, I don't want the cops involved. And he drove me home. And another time, a Chinese guy raped me and beat the shit out of me. You knock on the hotel room door, you never know what's inside there. Could be 10 guys ready to gangbang you. That actually happened to me too.
By now, most addicts are running for their lives. But those who've made it this far are not only running away, they're also moving towards the consequences.
I've been suicidal my whole life. I'd try to hang myself off the roof, which never did work out well for me. Overdose. I tried overdosing many times, even on, I don't even know what it was. I just found random pills up in a cupboard and I take them all.
The nature of the drug suppresses the memories. I don't think you realize that consciously. Because the high is hell. Because I hate the high. But the craving, you're a slave to it. I was 79 pounds when I got arrested.
So of course then, my criminal activity began to support my drug habit and to feel powerful. You put a weapon in a kid's hand and all of a sudden they become a man. I took up arms, took a bag of drugs, and I went nuts. And for that I spent many years in prison.
It's a journey people shouldn't have to take. Some Canadians are stepping up.
We had a relay that took place in Newfoundland. We had a walk in Toronto, in Montreal, in Ottawa, in London. Today, we are walking here in Edmonton.
Events like Freedom Relay Canada bring together groups that are willing to go the extra mile to provide support. Because when people reach out, there's a way out.
The last day in prison for me was an awakening. I was in prison for trafficking narcotics. But in there, I had an opportunity to meet a gentleman who, with the church, who asked me would I like to help. And I started beating chains and crosses to be shipped over to a missionary in Africa. And in doing so, I started thinking about all those crosses giving to kids. Instead of giving kids drugs, I'm giving them a cross. And at one point I met one of these people and they had my cross on.
Other people judge you and place shame on you for your addiction, when in fact the person that perpetrated the abuse on you as a child should be the one that's held at fault. and they're not.
Get involved. Reach out. Get help. Together, we can slay the monsters.
I know for sure, if I was to go back in time, I think reaching out would have been the salvation. If there was someone to reach out to,